BOI.
What's up, boy?
And then
Sleepyhead.
over here we have girl.
Oh, all right. GRL or GIRL?
GURL.
GURL. Okay. Oh, and when did you get them?
Saturday.
And what kind of dogs are they? Just so I can be
They're
totally
boxers.
boxers. Okay.
European boxers.
Oh, wow. All right. I don't know much about dog breeds, but they look very cute. I know that.
They're adorable, but they're a handful. They're puppies.
I'm sure.
So
I'm sure.
I'm running around. I'm running around trying to get them to go potty outside, and although they seem to be sitting in the bed right now, this could be good. Okay, let's see what we can do here.
Maybe they want to be polite. They know that you have stuff to do, and they want to make sure that you can do it.
Well, luckily, my wife tired them out this morning, so they're probably just going to sleep. They slept like 4 hours yesterday morning, like in the middle of the morning. So I'm hoping we get a little little respite now. But I think they are. They're cuddled up in their bed in my office here. They're sleeping.
Kevin says it's good to see John back from the swingers cruise. I didn't know it was a swingers cruise. I thought it was just a regular cruise.
I didn't either. I wish someone would have told me.
So, okay, yeah, you're looking awfully tan, my man. You look nice and rest and relaxed. Good Lord. I feel like I
you know what?
Gotta get different lighting or something so I look like I have some sort of color in my pigmentation.
This is kind of dark though in here, but I have all the lights on too. I did absolutely nothing for 10 days. Nothing. I barely looked at my phone. I definitely didn't bring my laptop. And I trained and ate and laid in the sun. That's all I did for 10 days.
Right. So it wasn't a swingers cruise. Now we got that. So Scatman wasn't a swingers cruise, lest anybody think differently. So Judson Chandler asks, are you going to have their ears done? Is that something you do with boxers?
Hell no. Oh, I hate that. No.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
They do something to their ears like Dobermans. They do it to Dobermans too. So their ears like stick straight up and they're pointy like Dr. Spock. Yeah. Okay. Man, I can't stand when they do that. It's bad enough they take their tails off. I don't even like that.
Oof. Is that just for aesthetics?
Probably because they knock everything off every coffee table they walk past. But I don't know why they do it. I mean, the tail belongs there. It helps them balance. It helps them walk. But they do it immediately right after they're born. So I don't understand that process. But yeah.
Let's see. Is John one of the does John use olive oil as sun lotion? I could see that. Just like glistening out there, like baking.
My sister used to do that.
Oh, I think my mom did that stuff back in the day.
Yeah,
that was before you knew, that you'd fry your skin.
Yeah.
But, so okay, so this gym, or I mean this cruise, you said it had a gym, like it looked fully stocked.
Oh, dude, it was my first cruise. I'd never been on a cruise before. We took a really expensive one on a luxury line, to go to, first class the whole way. We had a great stateroom. It was 2 rooms, like a living room and a bedroom. And it had a balcony right on the ocean. Of course, right on the ocean. Where else? But
on a lake, on a pond or a pool.
And the thing was, it was a smaller boat. So like, those Carnival cruises are like, 8,000 people. So the biggest one. And this one had less than like just under 600. So I was obviously a much smaller boat. And it was the level of service and high-end amenities was just amazing. I got a massage every day. There were 9 restaurants on the boat.
Wow.
All like super high-end. It was a disgusting waste of money, but So
do you got a tip? Do you still have the tip, or is that included if it's all inclusive?
We tipped the butler. I gave the butler $100 at the end of the trip. But other than that, it was all included. But the butler I had him running ragged, man, because the average age in that boat was probably 50 to 70, and because, you know, who else can afford that kind of
Right.
trip? And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but, and so, you know, we're drinking 4 liters of water each a day, and probably, you know, the rest of the passengers don't drink 4 liters of water the whole trip, you know, so uh, he was constantly bringing water back and forth, you know, and I had to have my cappuccino and biscotti in the morning. And one night at about midnight, I was starving and I ordered a pizza. And so all the shit I could never do in real life, you
Well,
know.
dude, hey man, you got to live it up sometimes. You know, that's important
Sometimes
to.
it was the first time in my life.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, just indulge. Like that's what I meant. Absolutely. Like it's yeah, like that. I get it, man. Sometimes you got to let it rip. So
It was more for my wife, you know, because I mean, she's working 20 hours a day now, you know,
yeah,
so I, you know, deferred to her for as much, you know, peace and luxury as we could get. And, you know, she needed, but, you know, she had her laptop, she was working. So, you know, it never stops for her,
yeah. But it was nice
unfortunately.
to get a break. I'm sure from the everyday uh, bodybuilding and all that. Just to take a nice break from that because I know that you have multiple podcasts that you do and multiple shows,
Yeah.
and people are always either firing questions at you or picking fights with you. So it must have been nice to just let that go for.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I enjoy what I do. I really do. I mean,
You know?
I love answering questions. I like informing people, spreading the knowledge. You know, the hard lessons that I learned. I hope maybe will make something easier for somebody else. Stuff like that. Um, but you know, I have a lot on my plate all the time. I'm constantly juggling stuff. I have projects going on. I have all kinds of shit going on, and I just needed to stop. My brain hurt, and
Yeah.
it worked. It was,
But do you feel like you're doing so much? Because this is what I fall into. No, regardless of organization or lack thereof, I take on so much that I feel like I'm not getting enough of anything done. Where it's like
yeah.
I step back and, geez, am I even making any progress here, or is it just do I need to eliminate some of these things and focus?
Yeah, you know, I adopted this style of self-management called box management. And basically what I do is I cut up my day into boxes that are a specific time frame. So one of my projects, for example, I'll say an hour a day.
Okay.
Another one is 2 hours Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You know, depending on what it is, and when the time hits and that box opens, I do what's in that box. When the time is over, I stop. Even if I'm mid sentence, mid if I'm hammering a nail in it, it's only half in, I'm stopping. You know what
Mm.
I mean? You have to stop because you got to start the next one. And if you do that religiously, at least for everybody's different, but for me, it totally works. I get more done by managing my time that way because if I don't do it that way, what'll happen is I'll get involved in something and I won't stop because I'm trying to let me get this much more done before I quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that opens another door. You go down a rabbit hole. Next thing you know, it's midnight, and I have 7 other things that I was supposed to do that I didn't do. So for me, everybody's different, but for me, box management is a lifesaver. I get so much more done doing that than anything else. So
So when the time runs out, is it kind of like you're at school and the bell goes off and you're going to the
yeah,
next class? Okay.
yep,
All right. Just
exactly like that. Exactly like that. Exactly like that.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on my fire pit area. It's an island we have where the 2 streams separate and come back together, and I'm paving it with bricks and pavers, and I have to get sand in order to lay the bricks into sand, otherwise they won't lay flat. And I'm harvesting the sand myself from the riverbed.
Okay.
So it's by hand with a shovel and a wheelbarrow, and it's, you know, one load after the other, and I just allocate 1 hour and I count it as cardio. So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So when that hour runs out, the wheelbarrow's sitting out there right now half full. The time ran out. That's it. I'm not doing any more. I'm going in. I'm going to the next thing. And that's the way you got to do it. And it works. For me, it works. I imagine for some people that would not work because they're really anal and they have to finish and they can't start something before they're done. And I'm not like that. I can do 7 things at once as long as I'm allocating time appropriately to each endeavor.
Yeah, I mean, some of my listen, this is so boring, but whatever. Like my latest issues is that I've run out of room on most of my hard drives in my computer. There's just so much stuff from all of these that I save, these things that we do, from all the clips that I cut, that it's like I have to just get a huge, like 20 terabyte hard drive and just dump everything and start over. Anyway, so okay, so we did talk to. By the way, one thing that might be of interest that was interesting to me was we did talk to Steve Weinberger. He's got this. He's got an event, an NPC stage ready showcase on February 1st. And one thing he said, somebody in the comments was talking about how, because I brought up the fit model division. I said every time there's a new division, people get upset. And someone in the comments said, well, that's because the shows are too long. And Steve said one of the things they've discussed is an elimination round to whittle down some of the competitors in specific divisions, or maybe all divisions. I'm not sure. Maybe they don't need it for all of them. But I thought that was an interesting take, something I never thought of. And maybe you've heard that before, but he says it's being, talked about and discussed. What do you think about that?
Honestly, whatever Weinberger comes up with is going to be good. He's got a knack for this. I mean, if anybody was in the right position at the right time, at the right point in their life, it's him. I mean, he is great at what he does. So I can see that being, I would take it probably a step further, and I would just limit the classes, and along with an elimination run. So I would limit to 10, 12, 15, whatever the number they pick is, and that's it. You have to be accepted into that. So it's, you got to submit an entry, and in the entry you have to put in pictures and your contest history, and you got to be literally worthy of standing on the stage with the other people that they choose to allow to compete. And that right there eliminates a lot of shit right there. I mean, that eliminates a ton of stuff. If you can somehow whittle down the classes to just a set number of people, and then through a process of elimination, cut that even further, then I think the shows would be far, we'd run through them a lot quicker. The point is, there's got to be a balance, a tipping point, a balancing point between the show being too long and the show not being long enough for, for the athletes to espouse, everything they've worked on to get there. But at the same time, if you know it ahead of time going into it, it's part of the deal. It's like, you gotta be good at what you do. You gotta be prepared. You gotta be ready. You gotta be a winner. You gotta come in the show to win it. And if you have a winning attitude going into the show, then, it's probably more possible that you're going to have a better class of competitors than if you have the people who are saying, oh, I just want to see how I do. I just want to see if I can crack the top 5. I just want to see if I've recovered from my shoulder surgery. That kind of bullshit.
I think this is mostly like Olympia related, but from what he said, I don't know. I mean, I can't, say that with any confirmation, but from what he said, that was what the person in the comments said, was really that at that show, everything seems so long. And ultimately what Steve said about adding divisions was, it's the evolution of things. He's like, this is what happens when, he's like, the bikini girls don't look like the same bikini girls that when they started. He's like, so we're trying to get other people involved. We want other people to, get involved in this. And maybe they continue down the path and they do go to different divisions. Maybe they don't. But so I understand it from that point. I also understand it from a revenue standpoint. The more divisions you have, the more people you can reach, and the more body types that can get involved. And look, and that's the thing. Some people don't want to be crazy, like women specifically don't want to be crazy hard, like figure or bodybuilding or something like that. So I get what they're trying to do, but I also understand the other side of it, the length of things. I mean, it's, so it is a tough balancing act, and I'm just glad that I don't have to make any decisions or be a part of it, because you can't win. Man. Yeah,
join the club. I am so glad I am not doing that shit. I mean, because I'd wipe it all out. I'd fuck it all up. I mean, I would say, okay, 7,000 people want to compete in the show. Nope, 20. That's it.
So, but
And it's
that
going to
was
be
a
over in 45 minutes. You know?
but that was interesting, and it was funny because we were really going to talk about, like that we were just talking about the NPC workshop, and that came up, and that's kind of what I enjoy, where we do have people that ask stuff and they get direct answers. And probably I don't
Yeah.
know if that person that asked, I can't remember who it was, but if they were thinking like, oh, this is going to be some BS answer, and it wasn't. It was direct, and I was
Yeah.
really, that's what you get with Steve anyway. It's kind of like the same with what you get with you or Frank. Hopefully with me too. Like we try to say, the best way we
Mhm.
can. And even at the workshop he's talking about, it's free entry. People can go, and it's not just about how to pose on stage or something like that. It's about how to create longevity in your career.
Mhm.
So if you're not going to be, not everybody has a chance to be some, award-winning champion competitor. Some people just they're not going to have that. But maybe there's other places that they can put their efforts or talents and still make a living. So
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
cool.
I think so too. And look, bodybuilding, fitness, all the whole industry has been evolving for 60 years,
Yeah.
and it's not done. This is good. We are in an industry that is in a constant state of evolution for a lot of reasons. And it's pretty unique to a lot. I mean, baseball, for example. Baseball's baseball. I mean, how much faster can a pitcher throw a ball at this point? I mean, we're maxed out everywhere you look. Football, baseball, hockey, basketball. I mean, you may get a taller guy, a stronger guy here, but pretty much they're maxed out. They're not going to change anything. They're not. Baseball is not going to have a new division or a new set of standards, or none of the other sports are. So really, bodybuilding, fitness, figure, whatever you want to call it, the industry is evolving, and it's going to continue to evolve as long as human beings evolve.
Yeah.
So I would, if anybody's looking for, this thing to standardize itself, it's just not going to happen. It just isn't.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting conversation. We also talked about, because he judged the Bumstead Prague thing, and people were saying that
Yeah.
did he do that? Did the judges pick Mark? I don't know, like, and he was like, if we wanted to be heroes, we would have picked Bumstead. He's the most popular guy.
Right.
Like, but he just wasn't big enough. Like that's
No.
it. Period.
Maybe now he'll go. I don't know. I mean, I like that guys quit one division and focus on another rather than dominate one division forever. And if he picks, open bodybuilding and he's just not cut out for it, then he's got his question answered and he can go about his life and, be a millionaire and be happy, So I'm all for that. I've changed my perspective on things has changed as I've gotten older because I can appreciate what people are trying to do from a standpoint that's not purely economic or where they're going to land, placing wise, or how their careers shape up, or what their following is count, how many followers they're going to have, or whatever. Things are different, and I like to see people try different things. I like to see the industry evolve. I like to see things that maybe iffy tried anyway, and maybe they're total duds, or maybe things work out. But to just stay in a lane and not do anything, and not try to change, and not try to implement, and not try new things, I think that kind of creates a stagnant environment that just isn't germane to our industry.
Yeah, it's Judson had a question. Does social influence have a role? I don't. If you ask Steve that, he's going to say no. Just what he said. Like Chris Bumstead has 20 something, 25 million people that
Yeah.
follow him. He's hands down, or arguably at least, the most popular dude. That you know, a lot of people know who he is, and they didn't choose him because he said, "Look, he's just smaller." Was a different category, but it's probably good that they don't do that because it would just
Yeah, I
sully.
agree. I agree. I mean, if the guy's not good enough, he's not good enough. It doesn't matter who he is. He's just not good enough. And that's the name of the game right there,
Yeah. So were you removed, by the way, from all of this stuff when you were you're out there. So you just kind of jumping back into stuff. Is that?
Yep. I paid attention to nothing. I did nothing. Except, like I said, I drank, I ate, I
Yeah.
swam, I sunbathed. I did absolutely nothing, and I needed to. I did it because I needed to, because I call it my brain hurting. I actually feel, especially this time of year, man. I am not a winter person for a lot of reasons, but um, you know, I have to recharge.
Yeah. Of
And I
course.
did, and that was really important. I felt bad for my wife because I'm just laying there, and she's like, she's got the laptop out. I mean, she literally worked every single day of the trip.
Oh man, that's rough. Like, there's
Uh,
no way she could get away from it. I guess not. I guess when you're, depends on
She,
what you
look,
do.
when you're a senior partner in a law firm and you're the managing partner of that law firm, you can't stop, because there's 50 people working there that need direction, that need help, that need advice, that need somebody to help them do whatever they're doing, that just nobody else can do it but her.
Yeah.
And so if you want the revenue stream to completely stop, then then she can stop. But she look, I, I've known a lot of people that were driven in my lifetime, and my wife is in another category. I mean, she is driven like no one I've ever seen before in whatever she does. I mean, from you name it. I mean, when she was competing as a women's physique competitor, she turned pro in 2 weeks. She
Jeez.
qualified for the nationals, and 2 weeks later, she won her pro card. The first time she competed once, qualified for the nationals, and then got her pro card, all in the span of 2 weeks. So, that's the way she does everything. So,
Yeah. Well, and then is it now you're back and it's cold here. It's probably cold there. Yeah. So sure things have
freezing. It's
just
gonna
kind of
snow today.
yeah, taking a nice left turn for you. Now,
Yeah.
are you still working on that book?
Yeah. I'm just was working on it this morning. Yeah. It's a cool
Man.
book.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't really know much about it. I don't know. You probably don't want to. I don't know if you want to explain about it, but
It's
it's
it's it's a great story about a guy, a good friend of mine, who grew up on the streets of Chicago, was a total thug gangbanger, and then made it legit business, owning gyms, who's the master franchisee for Gold's Gym in Mexico. And he made his money to open his first gym by smuggling cigars from Cuba into Chicago.
that's
So,
cool.
Michael Jordan was one of his clients. So, he was bringing in the best Cuban cigars in the world for the cigar aficionados to enjoy, and that's how he made his money. So the book is a compilation of smuggling stories, basically, on how he got from zero to being able to bring in
That's
enough
cool.
cigars from Cuba to open a Gold's Gym in Mexico.
Dude, I tell you what, that was not at all what I thought the book was about. So that is really an interesting story. I'm curious to see some of the close calls that there were, and
Oh
and
man.
what the ramifications would have been.
It's funny, because I wrote the foreword to the book, and I wrote the foreword based on the legal ramifications of doing what he's doing. And there are guys sitting in prison, or had been sitting in prison for many years, getting caught smuggling cigars from Cuba. So it was not a it was not a slap on the wrist kind of endeavor. It was definitely a wild ride. And you're talking about paying mules to bring backpacks across the Rio Grande, and they got wet, and he had to like dry them out. It was there was some. Hang on, what the hell? Sorry, puppies running around dragging stuff around. So yeah, it was definitely an incredible story, and a lot of incredible stories woven together. When it's done, it's going to be we'll have him on the show when the book is done. I mean, I want to have him on because
Let's do
he's
it.
an interesting character. He's one of us. He's a gym dude, and although he's a fighter, not a lifter, but nevertheless, he's all in our industry. So I think you guys would get a kick out of him.
Yeah, dude, that sounds cool. I would definitely be interested.
I don't know
I
what
think
they
what
did.
else we went
They
to. Frank and I
pulled
went to.
all
What's that?
the pups pulled all my wires. Now I'm like completely disheveled here.
I can kind of see you kind of like, head on a swivel here, looking
Yeah, I
around,
mean, I'm
making,
like, because
yeah,
I got to keep an eye on them. I
of
have all the
course.
press passes from all the shows I've been to hanging on the doorknob of my office in the back. They just took them all off and have been fighting with them, and now they're gone. I don't know what they're doing. I'm
See,
sure I'm
the
going to
only
arrest
ones I keep were when we would do the badges for Muscle and Fitness, depending on who it was, I would make multiple badges and I would do like ones with really goofy pictures and just wait for them to kind of realize it.
them.
And those are the ones that I kept. But all the ones that I have, I just toss them out. I don't even know.
My entire house looks like a nursery school playpen right now. So it's crazy.
This is totally out of the blue, but I read this I read this article about peeing is contagious among chimps. That's why
What
they think
is
that peeing. They think so
peeing?
like that's yeah. So basically they call it contagious peeing, and that's why they think humans, maybe there's some connect as to why humans, pee together sometimes, or like they see somebody else go. It's like, I don't know. It's totally out of the blue, but I just found it to be, again, what a headline. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, contagious
peeing
peeing?
is
I was like,
contagious.
I thought sneezing was, but now peeing is.
Menstrual cycles are.
I did not. I always thought that was a myth.
No, if you put three women in a house together, eventually they will all get their period at the same time. I've seen it
How
happen. I've seen it happen 10 times.
how does that happen?
I have no idea. It's probably a pheromone thing, that sets a signal off. But I have seen it numerous times happen, and have my own family, my mother and sister. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how that happens.
Again, I'm gonna put the link to the thing in the chat if anybody actually cares. But it was just it was just so weird. I'm
Peeing is
reading this, yeah, and I'm like, again, I see 1,000 headlines a day, right? So
right.
of course this one I stop on. I'm like, oh, I'll read this. And then I read it. I'm like, why did I read that? Of all the things I could have read today, I read about how chimps pee together.
Well, yawning is contagious. If you start
Right.
yawning, people around you'll start yawning.
That's
So
what it was, not sneezing.
there's something
Yawning was
to it.
contagious.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
there's
This is
definitely
funny.
something to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, let's we don't have to keep it. I got 11:30, and I know that we were kind of late today. But are you able to what Thursday? What time is good for you on Thursday?
I mean, 10 is great because they're tired out by then. They'll probably be sleeping. So I think, look, the next 6 months of my life is going to be
Hmm.
disheveled, for a lack of a better word, until these guys are, completely housebroken and trained. I started training them yesterday. I mean, I'm starting right away. I mean, like command training. I got the white boy to That's actually his full name, White Boy and Black Girl. Political
Oh,
correctness out the
yeah.
window, but I got him to come, so I even videoed it. So I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so I'm working on sit, stay, come, lay down, and of course potty outside, and I'm making progress, but it's largely a solo. It's largely a solo operation because my wife is gone all day, but
How
I'm gonna
long does it typically take? I've never had to train a dog like like you're training them. I've we had dogs growing up, but
right.
I didn't. I was younger. I didn't really have to do it like that. So how long does this typically take with one? I mean, is it easier with two, or is it going to be
Well,
more
in
challenging?
some cases it's easier. In some cases, now they're pulling the paper out of the printer. In some cases it's easier. In some cases it's harder. It also depends on the breed. Some dogs obviously are way smarter than others. I mean, a border collie, you can train them to do algebra in the first week, but they're insanely smart. Boxers are not very high up there on the intelligence level, so it takes them a little longer. Um, I'm gonna have nothing left.
Some chewed up paper, at least.
They're
Some,
chewing up
yeah,
everything, but that's what they do.
yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, it's these guys is going to take me. It's going to take probably 3 or 4 weeks just to get them probably mostly housebroken, and I think within 6 months they'll be pretty well trained. And then it's just a matter of continuously, enforcing what you taught them. I mean, you can't teach them to sit, stay, lay down, and then not do it anymore. You got to, every day, you got to like work at it, So,
Yeah.
I like it though. It's kind of like rewarding when you take these little guys and then, kind of train them and then get them to to me, there's nothing more annoying than an untrained animal. You go to somebody's house and their dog is jumping on you, barking, peeing all over the place. They don't come, they don't sit, they don't stay, they don't go where you. That to me is just, it's bad for the animal. It's just not good. Dogs, especially dogs, they like to work. They like to please you. They like structure. They like all that. So when you get them and you teach them how to do stuff that you want them to do and you reward them for it, and they thrive on that. So that's part of having a dog is that they have to be active. You can't just let them sit around all day. You got to do shit with them. So
yeah, I mean, that's good that your situation allows you to be there and to do that. I mean, it's otherwise, where else would they be? They'd be what, in a kennel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very fortunate guy, and I know it. So I have, I get to work from home. I get to do the shit I want to do. I pretty much have full control over that. So that's something to strive for. Because let me tell you, things weren't like that a long time ago, and I remember I remember every minute of that drudgery. So, for all you guys out there.
I want to talk about that sometime because I'd like to know those types of stories. Maybe not today since we have limited time, but I absolutely want to know some of that stuff. I think that's important to know because you see, it's kind of, I'll put it this way: you look at Frank got his the protein tree into even more countries. I think it's into 14 countries now.
Wow!
But people don't know that when he started and he put all this money out, he was very. He was nervous, he was like, gosh, it was stressful. It's like a lot of stress but you don't see that. They think, oh, well, people are hitting him up for free products and this and that. And it's like, you don't know that this dude is consistently working with his partner, Jose, to get this thing off the ground and cutting checks, getting money in to only put it right back out. So it's like, it just, you don't see it. That's why, I really like to tell those types of stories. And those are the types of stories I like to learn because at some point I'd like to, we talk about it. We have plans that we're trying to get off the ground.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we do that and avoid some of these mistakes that we've made in the past.
We will.
Well, all right. So we'll be back Thursday, everybody. Thank you. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us. And thanks, John, for hopping on. I hope they don't chew up too much stuff today. And thanks for the comments, everyone. But we'll see you Thursday.
I have a trail I need to follow now.
All right. Well, good luck, dude. All right. Thanks.